Cronos price prediction for 2025? Cronos holders are sitting on a gold mine. Cronos, or CRO for short, stands for the next crypto phenomenon, but hardly anyone understands why. After the billion-dollar deal with Trump media and massive partnerships, the data shows potential for up to 70 times growth. So make sure to stay until the end, because that's when I'll reveal the realistic price scenarios that could give you a decisive advantage. Welcome to 10x by Marius, your channel for honest data-driven altcoin analysis. Did you know that Cronos, or CRO, is currently one of the most underrated altcoins in the top 20 and could still have massive potential? But that's exactly what we're going to look at together now in this complete analysis. But first, what exactly is Cronos? It's a layer 1 blockchain from crypto.com. It is EVM compatible and runs on the Cosmos SDK. So for example, it connects Ethereum with the world of the Cosmos ecosystem. And what's special, Cronos isn't just any chain project, but it's the backbone for 150 million users of crypto.com. So that means real mass adoption is already here, and that's not just a dream, it's already reality. So what market problem is being solved here? Many blockchains are expensive, slow, or let's say not suitable for regulation. But Cronos addresses exactly this. 500 millisecond block times, up to 60,000 transactions per second, proof of stake, and all of that energy efficient. And now comes the most exciting part, RWA tokenization. Cronos wants to bring stocks, real estate, and funds on chain. A market that could be worth $10 trillion by 2030. And that's a gigantic growth lever and the billion-dollar deal with Trump media. Just from that alone, Cronos has gained over 160% in value in recent weeks. And that shows CRO is being taken seriously, even by big players. Technically, Cronos scores points with zero downtime over 4 years, full EVM operation, meaning compatibility and easy onboarding for developers. Then, a strong roadmap through 2026 and AI integration promise huge potential. Definitely stick around until the end because I'll show you the different price scenarios and explain how realistic a 70x for Cronos really is. So before we get started together, grab yourself a coffee, leave a like for me, and if you want to support me, become a 10x supporter on YouTube. Just click on join, and thank you for your support. But a quick disclaimer, my channel is not financial advice, it's purely for informational purposes. So if you're new to my channel, what do I actually do? I analyze altcoins in detail using 20 different metrics. You can see the 20 metrics right there. At the end, I give a result in percent, so it's really easy for you to understand. And I create 4 to 5 different price scenarios. And I also look at what's actually possible by 2030, including in terms of price. So if you don't want to miss out, subscribe to the channel now and turn on the bell so you don't miss any good altcoins. Especially when the altcoin season really kicks off. Alright, let's start with the market capitalization. Cronos currently has a market cap of about $10.6 billion US. That already puts CRO among the top 20 coins worldwide. This of course makes it more stable than some small coins, but also naturally less explosive. Now you might still be wondering why such high multiples should be possible, but I'll get to that later. In any case, here it's the case that they are solidly valued, especially in terms of potential. Here we have a strong 7. Then, regarding the circulating supply, out of a total of 100 billion CRO, currently 33 billion are in circulation. That's a little more than 30%. Sounds solid, but the remaining tokens will only be unlocked over the next few years. That means, of course, over the long term, this can keep putting pressure on the price. By the way, if you want to buy CRO or other altcoins, I would highly recommend my favorite exchange to you. They have extremely exciting features. Check it all out. I linked everything in the pinned comment, and you'll also get a so-called bonus when you sign up. Definitely in this area here, 6. Next, what about the roadmap? Cronos calls its roadmap the golden age of chain dominance. So, the goals are sub-second transactions, AI integration, RWAs, and the POS v6 upgrade, which is scheduled to be implemented on time. So the team is delivering here. The vision is ambitious. Strength 9. Next, how strong is the team? The project is led by crypto.com. With over 3,000 employees, CEO Chris Maltzke and co-founder Rafael Mello, they truly have many years of fintech experience. a team that has basically built a billion-dollar platform. Now with their own blockchain, which is getting stronger and receiving more and more support. The team Strong 9. Narrative. The narratives of Cronos are RWAs, but also artificial intelligence. So exactly the topics that will dominate the crypto market in 2025. CRO wants to bring stocks, real estate and funds all on chain, and that is extremely relevant in the long term. 8. What problem are they actually trying to solve? The problem? Fragmented financial markets and slow blockchains. The solution? Cronos combines EVM compatibility with the Cosmos SDK. Fast, inexpensive and interoperable. In other words, it connects multiple blockchains. This creates a real bridge between the traditional financial system and crypto. Strong 9. Next, how sustainable is Cronos actually? Makes sense? Proof of stake? That already saves over 90% energy compared to Bitcoin. A green future-proof model. Strong 9. Next, what about investors and capital? Crypto.com raised over $500 million back then. Additionally, there's a billion-dollar deal with Trump Media. So capital is extremely well available. In this area, a really strong 8. Next, who are CRO's competitors actually? The competitor? BNB chain. BNB also has its own chain, meaning Binance. By the way, I'll link the analysis of Binance up here as well. It's extremely interesting. For example, they also have Solana as a competitor, of course, but also Algorand. Cronos may be smaller in that sense, but it has a strong user base, naturally due to Crypto.com, and has had 0 outages since launch. That's what sets Cronos apart from Solana, for example. And by the way, if you're interested in other altcoin analyses, check out the playlist, the 10x universe. I've linked it in the video description. Super exciting analyses, and for next weekend I have 2 more analyses of low-cap altcoins that could be very interesting for you. Not many people have them on their radar yet, so subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss them. Here, a strong 7. Next, marketing. Cronos, of course, benefits massively from the marketing of Crypto.com, from UFC to Formula 1 sponsorships. The brand is visible worldwide. That also earns a strong 8 here. Then, how simple is the idea? The idea is simple. Ethereum just faster with real-world assets. Every beginner understands that right away, especially as a utility token for Crypto.com, of course. How do you see it actually? Did I also explain Cronos to you simply at the beginning? Write it in the comments. Here, a strong 9. What is actually the long-term vision? Cronos wants to be the bridge between crypto, artificial intelligence, and the financial markets, with a focus on compliance and institutions. A vision that is big, but achievable. Strong 9. Then, is the coin actually deflationary? And what about max supply? The maximum is 100 billion tokens. There are burns and staking, but the 70 billion remint cost trust. That's why for now only a 7 here. What about the fully diluted market monetization? In the end, it shows how fairly the coin is currently valued. The FDV is currently at 31.5 billion. That's only 3 times the market cap. That's still a pretty fair price. Here's strong 9. Then volume. What about the trading volume? That's over 20% of the market cap. This is extremely high and shows enormous interest at the moment. This is of course also due to the deal with Trump Media. 10. Then, how fair was the distribution at the beginning? Were there any lockup periods? The tokens are indeed unlocked linearly over the long term, but 60% are in the hands of Crypto.com. That's a concentration risk. That's why only 6 here. Then, what about the top coin holders? The top 100 addresses hold 80%. As you can see, that's quite centralized. That reduces decentralization. That's why only 5 here as well. What is the utility of the CRO token? CRO is the gas token, staking token, and also provides governance, meaning voting rights. In addition, it is used for payments, for example, in the Crypto.com app, so it has a very broad range of uses. The utility is massive. 9. Then, how strong is the community? 150 million users on Crypto.com. In addition, 100,000 active users on Discord and Telegram. That's an extremely strong base. By the way, are you yourself a holder of CRO? Are you a fan of CRO? Write CRO in the comments and show yourself. In any case, they are very strong in the community. 9. Then, another super important point, what events are coming up this year or at the beginning of next year? Very important events are sub-second block times, AI Gateway, Project Cortex, then real world assets, and all of this within the next 6 to 12 months. So that's a strong 8 here. Do you know what really shocked me about Cronos? Many see CRO only as the exchange token, but the data tells a completely different story here. Let's first take another look at the analysis. Cronos has impressed in almost every area, from the clear roadmap to real partnerships, including the billion-dollar deal with Trump Media. The project currently stands at 80.1% on my 10x ranking list. I'll show it here now. This means CRO isn't one of the most speculative gamble coins, but rather a solid project with a real future. And the strengths are clear: a real use case, real world assets, AI integration, a huge community, 150 million users, and a technically strong foundation. Fast, affordable, scalable. Of course, there are also risks, as with all altcoins, such as the high token concentration at crypto.com. But overall, the opportunities clearly outweigh the risks. My statement is clear. Cronos, or CRO, is one of the strongest long-term plays with a solid foundation and realistic upside. And if you're now saying, I want to dive deeper into the world of altcoins, I want to invest smartly, then you should definitely check out the Zenix Elite. That's my exclusive community where you could really gain an edge in the market. For example, you get access to the Zenix ranking list that I just showed. You'll see every altcoin I've ever analyzed on there, with rankings with analysis, and ultimately also the results in percentage terms. Then you get insight into my portfolio. You'll be informed about how I trade in the market. I've linked a tutorial for you below or also up here. Take a look at it. It simply gives you more information, and then you can decide for yourself if it's worth it to you. Do you know what the most exciting question at the end of this analysis is? Not just what a project is worth today, but where it could be in the next few years. So let's talk together now about the price scenarios for Cronos, and I promise you this is going to be exciting. Let's start, as always, with the bear scenario. Imagine the market is performing weakly. Bitcoin ultimately fails to break through a certain level, and investors remain cautious. In this scenario, Cronos might still grow, but only in small steps, maybe just below $1. Steady but rather unspectacular growth. Then we come to the normal scenario. But what if the market develops in a healthy way? Bitcoin rises, altcoins follow, and Cronos benefits from its partnerships. Then we're talking about prices well above $1. A value that is realistic and definitely sounds very attractive to many investors. But now let's move on to the optimistic scenario. The scenario that's really fun: Cronos attracts institutional investment, rebuild assets take off, and crypto.com brings millions more users onto the blockchain. Then we're no longer talking about $1, but about $2 to $3. A rally that really starts to show its strength. Now let's move on to the extremely optimistic scenario. I'm going to take this idea even further now. Adoption is happening, partnerships are growing, Cronos becomes a true bridge between crypto and the financial world. Then we could see prices of $5 or even higher. Suddenly CRO is one of the coins everyone is talking about. And now Vision 2030. What will happen in 2030? What could happen? Imagine the big vision. The year 2030, the crypto market has grown massively and has truly arrived in the real world. Mainstream adoption. Investors are fully on board, retail has come back. Real world assets are part of everyday life. Cronos has secured a massive market share. Then we're no longer talking about just a few dollars. Then it's $15, maybe $20 or more. That number might sound crazy now, but in a decade it could be reality. But what is the current status right now? I'll show you my chart analysis here and how I would approach things. Would I buy? Would I sell? Would I just wait? All of that now. Yes, hello and welcome to my chart analysis. As you can see here again, what's important for me to emphasize first, I'm a long-term investor, not a trader, so I only look for long-term entry opportunities or partial profits, where I take some profits or exit points. In any case, I'll just quickly show you how my indicator works, how my system works. I always look at the overbought area in the end, so up here, or the oversold area. That means in the oversold area, I look for entry points. For example, with my indicator on TradingView, I have a special indicator here. Here, for example, would have been such a point, which is nicely marked with a green dot. It's just clear and easy to see. Here would have been a kind of entry point for me, and up here you can see we're in a massively overbought area. That is also shown here again with a red dot, and that would be a point where I would have taken partial profits or exited the market completely depending on the situation. This would have been the peak in the last bull run. So the indicator is actually quite good for finding entry points in the long term, but also exit points. In the short term, it can still go further down, but as I said, since I think long term, this is an indicator for me. Here we can see right now, here was the announcement, basically about Trump media. Yes, Jim, Crypto.com and the CRO blockchain are supporting it. Here, of course, we've now seen a massive peak. So at the current state, I wouldn't invest in CRO and would wait for now, because we've just had this hype, everyone jumped in massively here, we're in a heavily overbought area, as you can see here. So here I would really wait until it moves back into a healthy range to get a new entry point, because otherwise you'll just be driven by FOMO and end up wanting to get in at the peak here, even though it could really drop significantly again. And by the way, if you generally want to see my entry points, when I actually buy, when I get in, when I get out again, and also want to have the latest news from the crypto market, then check out the 10x Elite. There, I really have the complete package you actually need to find the best altcoins and also good entry points. Yes, and if you want to dive even deeper now, then check out my next analysis. Why this altcoin looks super exciting at the moment? You'd best find that out for yourself. See you in a moment. See you. Thanks for watching and see you in a moment.